welcome back, everybody. This is episode 5 of Moz Corner. Mr. Awesome here. And before I go into answering last week's question, let me first start. Just in case you haven't watched an episode of Moz Corner yet, and you want to kind of get an idea of, what the series is all about. And basically, I take a question, ask it to you guys. You guys answer the question in the comment section, and then also, if you have other questions you'd like to see in future episodes, put that down below in the comment section as well. And then in the follow-up video, I answer that question. I showcase a couple of the top commented answers to that question, and then I close the video out with a new question. So, now that the intros are kind of out of the way, let's get into it. In last week's video, the question I asked you guys was sequels. Yes, no, how do you feel about sequels? Now, I touched on this a little bit in that last video, but there's definitely more to this answer. So let me just first start with what I was saying in the last video, and that was, so in an example with Darksiders 2, sequels that get creative always earn bonus points for me. And what I mean by creative is, in Darksiders 2, this story does not pick up where the first one left off. It uses a parallel timeline and a different main character. So you're not playing as War, now you're playing as Death, and you're not playing, right, I don't know if you played Darksiders, but at the end of that, you kind of see the 3 other horsemen coming in from the skies, and you're kind of like, oh great, this second game's going to pick up where this last one left off. But it actually just shows aside, what's going on at the same time that War is going through his thing. And so that's an example of what creative sequels are doing these days. And again, those all are bonus points. Now, I wanted to also say that, and now that I'm thinking about this a little bit more, there really is no wrong in having a sequel. There are bad sequels, but just having them in general, it gives you an opportunity to at least try to provide the same experience you've already given people. You try to up the ante a little bit more. Stories can always use a little bit more to a story. It doesn't have to be a follow-up, could be a prequel. I know God of War is doing that now. In fact, God of War, even Uncharted, these are games that have those, I guess you can say, the normal types of sequels, where you finish up the story where the other one left off, and you just go from there. All of that is great, in my opinion. I think that's, if it's done right, it's really fun to play. Gears of War kind of did that a little bit, Halo series, Killzone, those types of shooters were doing it for a while. They continued the story where the other one left off, and it was fine. But then there's also the example with games that are coming off of, I don't want to say sequels, but they have a 2 or a 3 behind it, but they're just so different from the first game. Right off the bat, I'm thinking of Deus Ex. The first one was definitely, several years old, but the second one was a really good game. And then you have other sequels where, you don't really have to play the first game. Crisis for PC was this way. When it came out, it was definitely pushing the limits of PC hardware, and it was a fun game to play. But if you haven't played it yet, and you played Crisis 2, you get the gist of what was going on in Crisis 1. Mass Effect was the same way in Mass Effect 2. It's always great to play the original game, but the intro sequences to these games, they give you all you need to know about the first game, and that's good. It really is good. If you haven't played any of these games and you want to know a little bit of backstory going into it, hey, by all means, continue to do it. So, there's a few examples of what sequels are available, and I can't think of any bad sequels. I really can't. Let me rephrase this. I can think of bad sequels, but I don't think of a scenario where having a sequel is bad for the game or the franchise. I just can't think of any at the top of my head. If you guys can, that'd be great. Leave it in the comment section, because I would love to read that, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. And that's kind of where I came to a disagreement with myself. I felt like my question for you guys was a little too vague. So, I mean, for that, I kind of apologize, because I really want to have good quality questions, you know, something that can spark some debate. But I felt like this last question didn't really do that very well, because, I mean, who's going to sit there and be like, no, I don't want a sequel, first game good, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyways, that's my answer for that question. I hope you guys agree with me. No, actually, I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video. So before I continue on, let me give you guys let me just show an answer that I got from the first video that I did appreciate. That's coming on the screen right now. Thank you for leaving that comment. And now I want to go ahead and ask you guys the question for next week's video. And that's going to be this. What game or franchise would you love to see made into an HD remake? Now, I'm not talking about a sequel. I'm talking about a legitimate HD remake. Something from back in the day that would really, really use a nice facelift and just be awesome, you know? A couple of HD remakes. There was Shadow of the Colossus with Eco. That was well received. It actually looked really good. I played Shadow of the Colossus, and that HD, man, it looks nice. I'm thinking of Beyond Good and Evil. You know, Beyond Good and Evil came out last year, and it was doing its thing. I'm trying to think what else. They did the, I don't know if this was HD remake or not, but they did the God of War one for the PS. I think they were the PSP games. All right, no, I take that back. They did that, but I'm thinking of the God of War 1 and 2 on PlayStation 3. They re-released that. I think that was in HD. I don't think that got a great overhaul, you know, visually speaking. But I'm trying to there was also the Tomb Raider trilogy, the Metal Gear Solid, those games. So I'm trying to think, what game, franchise, what would you love to see brought back with a facelift? So that's my question. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And like always, peace.